Kenya's second president, Daniel Arap Moi, the country's longest-serving head of state, has died. Moi died on Tuesday morning, according to a proclamation by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Kenyatta has declared a period of national mourning to last until the funeral day, with all national flags being flown at half-mast. Our reporter Sarah Kimani joins us now live from Nairobi, Kenya. Sarah, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. So this is the person who was at the helm of the country for over 24 years, and I believe there is reaction coming from all angles.
Yes, indeed, it's been a very busy day here in Kenya. Now, news of the death of President Daniel Arap Moi have sunk, and there have been mixed reactions across the country, and especially among people who knew him, people who grew up knowing only President Moi as the president of the country, because he ruled for 24 years. Mixed reactions. There are those who feel that President Moi ruled the country well and that he did the best that he could to rule the country. But there are those who feel that he was a dictator and that he led the country with an iron fist. And indeed, during the 24 years that he was in power, President Moi detained a lot of people without trial. Some were tortured under his watch during his leadership, but he also presided over peace talks in South Sudan, peace talks in Uganda, peace talks in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So reactions to his death depend on who you speak to.
So we know that a proclamation was made by President Uhuru Kenyatta this morning, of course, also declaring a period of national mourning that will last until the funeral day, with all national flags being flown at half-mast.
Yes, the flags will be flown at half-mast, and they're already flying at half-mast. We also now have begun a period of national mourning. We do not know how long that will last, because the family has just retreated to meet and discuss details of when the president will be buried. What we know for sure is that he will be accorded a state funeral. We do not know where he will be buried. We understand that President Moi would have loved to be buried at his private home in Kabrak next to his late wife, but the President Kenyatta is out of the country at the moment, and so such finer details of where he will be buried, when he will be buried, who will be invited for his burial, and whether the former president's body is going to lay instead for a period of time will only be known once the family sits and once President Kenyatta returns to the country.
All right, so let's just reflect a bit, Sarah, on the impact really that President Moi had in shaping Kenya's politics and perhaps government structures.
Yes, indeed. The history of this country cannot be written without President Daniel Arap Moi featuring a lot. He started his political life as a politician in his Rift Valley province, where he came from after stopping being a teacher. And then after that, he became the vice president under first president of the country, Uhuru Kenyatta's father, the founding father of the nation, Jomo Kenyatta. At the death of Jomo Kenyatta in 1978, President Moi became the second president of the republic. He ruled until 1982 in what is said to have been a soft-spoken person, but an attempted coup in 1982 changed Moi, the man that a lot of people knew. He now moved the country from a two-party state into a single-party state. He ruled the country with an iron fist at that time, trying to consolidate power. It is during this time that a lot of people were exiled, including prominent people, writers like Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Raila Odinga himself spent a lot of time either in detention or away in exile. But it also during this time that President Moi shaped his name as a statesperson, an African statesperson, trying to negotiate for peace deals in countries that other people at the time would not have managed to do, because at the time, Kenya was probably the only country that was still peaceful in the region. In 1992, Moi then was able to again repeal the laws, and the country went back to multipartyism. And indeed, I was reading President Mwai Kibaki's eulogy, his successor, who says that the history of this country in terms of multipartyism then depends on how Moi decided to agree to multipartyism. But it was not without a lot of resistance initially. After that, a new constitution was written in 2002, and President Moi then agreed to hand over power in 2002 after the repeal of the laws in 1997. It is only then that now people say that a lot of people thought that President Moi would refuse to retire after winning an election in 1992 and another one in 1997. Pardon me, the laws were changed in 1997 to indicate that Moi had to retire after 2 terms in office. And indeed, he retired and handed over to President Mwai Kibaki. And after that, he retired into a very quiet retirement. We have not had him making any political comments or participating in any political events. However, it is known that he is the political mentor of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto, and at the back he has continued to advise these 2 leaders in terms of how to run the country.
Yeah. So now looking into his legacy as well, Sarah, as a former teacher, as you said yourself, he's been applauded by many for his inclusion of a wide expansion of higher education, a number of universities being built in his time.
Sorry, I did not get you.
I was saying that in terms of his legacy, a number of people are also applauding him for his role in the expansion of the higher education in that country.
Yes, indeed. A lot of people saying that during his reign, a lot of schools were built and the system of education was improved so that there were practical subjects under the 844 system of education. More universities were built during that time. But also some people saying that he was the person who really advocated for girl-child education, one, by building a lot of schools, but also by insisting that girls are taken to school. And most of the schools that he built at the time were girls' schools, and he would be seen visiting girls' schools. But also one of the things that people who are our age who remember, and they're talking about it, is that he introduced a packet of milk that time called Nyayo milk after him, which was given to school-going children. In his opinion then, it was the meal that kept some kids coming to school.
All right, Sarah, we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for coming through. Our SABC News correspondent today, Sarah Kimani, reflecting on the life and times of the Kenya's second President Daniel Arap Moi, who died this morning.